Welcome to Lincoln Fire and Rescue. I'm Dale Johnson, and it is my hope today that at the end of our conversation that we will have generated a spark, an interest in becoming a firefighter paramedic. And I have experts here today, 36 years of experience around the table here. Deb, good to have you in. Deb Stayberg.
Great to be here,
25
thanks.
years.
Staring it
Deb,
down.
is that it?
Yep.
Justin Coomer. Justin, you're the...
I'm the
Now,
pup.
I'm not belittling you any, but you're the newbie. You're 4 years in.
Four years in.
And Chris Gutierrez. Chris, you're 7 in.
7 years.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
We're here to talk about the career of a firefighter paramedic as it applies to Lincoln Fire and Rescue. We're coming off a couple of orientation classes the first week of January. Had about a 30-person or so turnout, which is respectable. But Lincoln Fire would like to recruit more firefighter paramedics, and that's where Chris, Justin, and Deb are here to talk to you today to get you interested, perhaps, in this. So thank you, Chris, Justin, Deb, for coming in. All right, since you have the most experience of anybody, tell me what 25 years ago it took to become a firefighter paramedic.
Well, interestingly, when I was hired 25 years ago as a firefighter, I went to paramedic school, one of the first classes of paramedic school with Lincoln Fire, and that was in '95.
But that's all you had to be at the time.
Just a
was
firefighter, yep.
Now
Firefighter
it's
EMT.
Firefighter paramedic, correct, Chris?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yep. Yep.
And the orientation classes, I learned this from talking to Chris recently, that it isn't just for people who have licenses or who have gone through medical training to the point where they would qualify to become a firefighter paramedic. It could be anyone listening today. If you had this latent interest, this curiosity about what it takes to become, you can attend or pursue in some way the paths necessary to become a firefighter paramedic. Now, Chris, you and I talked at about the time of these January orientations. Those are both closed.
Mm-hmm.
They have happened. For people listening and watching today, what would be the path that these orientation classes introduced people to?
So this will be an annual thing, the orientation class, and usually we'll try to open it up for 2 days so that anybody that's interested in becoming a firefighter has the opportunity to become educated in what that process is. It seems that there is a lot of people that have kind of a misunderstanding of what it takes to be in the fire department, or maybe have never had the guidance of knowing a firefighter or having a family member that's a firefighter or a friend. So this kind of helps us bridge the gap between those people and having a career with us. So what I would tell anybody that's interested in joining the orientation class is that it kind of helps you make those connections, kind of find the pathway of what you need to do to prepare yourself to be able to contribute once you become a firefighter on Lincoln Fire and Rescue.
I mentioned you don't have to be certified, you don't have to have licenses, but there are minimums.
Mm-hmm.
Need to be a U.S. citizen. What else? Help me with the minimum
19
qualifications.
years of age.
Yep.
Driver's license, Nebraska driver's license.
State certification of some sort, so it doesn't have to necessarily be Nebraska's state certification, but if you're coming from Washington State, California, Oregon, anywhere in the surrounding areas, Kansas, you can apply here, but we just require that you have your National Registry paramedic at time of hire. But for application purposes, you just need to have your state certification.
Now, Chris, you also told me that even nurses, not even, but nurses can become paramedics, and they can go through paramedic programs.
Yes, sir.
Here in Nebraska.
Yeah. There's a specific program at Creighton University that they offer where they do a bridge course for nurses who want to become EMTs, and then for nurses that want to become paramedics. And I believe, I mean, don't quote me on this, but I believe the the nurse to EMT is 1 week, and the nurse to paramedic is about 2 weeks. So if you go on our website, we actually have listed every accredited paramedic program, so that if you're looking for a paramedic program in your area to join, you can find it right there.
That website, by the way, is Lincoln Fire and Rescue. Actually, it's city. You can go to lincoln.ne.gov and then mine down to Lincoln Fire and Rescue, and there's a video. There's a lot of information there. Justin, I'll turn to you. What led you down the path to become a paramedic firefighter?
Well, believe it or not, like a lot of people on this job, I started out really not knowing anything about the fire department. I mean, I was working construction. I actually didn't even get my paramedic license until I was 31, and then got certified. Actually went to work for Grand Island Fire and figured out that I really love this job, and then tested with Lincoln, got hired in Lincoln. So I didn't actually start right away into the fire EMS career path. Just kind of something I kind of stumbled into. I was looking for a change of pace.
What's the length of time, this path you speak of, Justin, when you become involved, you're certified, you're trained, there are physical tests, there are oral tests, there are written tests. You go through all of that process, and again, go to the website, lincoln.ne.gov, go to Lincoln Fire and Rescue and find out more. Length of time, duration of time that it would take?
For the whole testing process?
Yeah.
It could take up to 9 months, I believe. I mean, it can be a pretty long process.
Yeah.
It just kind of depends on that year and kind of the
What the need
logistics
is,
of it.
yeah, and what the need is for personnel. So depending on how many people they need to hire will dictate how many people go through this process, then wait. So sometimes there's quite a waiting game involved, depending on the need.
And how many classes. You can hire multiple classes out of one testing group. So you might not be on the first one, you may be on the second one, but that may, your class date would start later the next year as opposed to the individuals that started in the first one.
Let's introduce people to your workload. Someday, Justin, before the cameras started rolling, we were talking about a day for you. Was that out of Station 3?
Yep, Station 3.
Talk about the consecutive calls and what a hectic day can be.
Well,
Today,
yeah, yesterday.
yeah.
It's not uncommon for, I think, a lot of especially our medic unit stations are probably, I would say on average, 10 plus calls a day, which is, you figure 10 calls in 24 hours is a lot of time out of the station. Just for example, yesterday, we were talking about it off camera, we left the station at 9:30 and we didn't get back till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And we were just, every time we went back in service, we were catching another call. So, there's a pretty hefty workload in the city, but it's all across the city. It's not just one area, I guess.
And then there are days where I was visiting Station 3, I think it was twice, didn't
turn
have a
it-
call.
Yep.
They want me back.
Right,
They want me to
right,
keep coming
yeah.
back. I'm that guy that
You're the
quiets
anchor.
things.
You're the anchor.
I guess, that
Yeah.
I quiet things down.
And that's one of the things with our job is we never know what the day's going to bring. It could be a day where you only have 2 or 3 calls. It might be a day where you're running 16, 17 calls that day. You never know.
I think one thing Deb Staber could probably talk about is the call volume and how it's increased probably over her career period here. At
Well, it's
least.
80% of the calls now are medical
Yeah, but
related.
they've always probably been close to 80-20, but just the number of calls, the sheer volume of calls has increased exponentially the last, I would say, 5 or 6 years, to be honest with you. It wasn't uncommon when I first started on a medic unit. We took it over in 01. I'm on Medic 6 out in the south part of town. It wasn't uncommon for us to run 3 or 4 calls a shift. It really wasn't. Stay in at night. And wow, if I could have less than 3 or 4 at night, that would be awesome. Yeah, it's the call volume has just grown. Well, the city's grown
Sure.
without the growth of a whole lot of resources. So
It's grown in population, it's grown in
Size.
square miles.
Yep.
right,
Yep.
right.
Boundaries are different.
And the medic units also respond to the counties. So we hit the county lines, not just the city limit lines. So we're also taxed. You have a big incident out in Hickman, you're going to pull 2 or 3 of our resources out there out of the city, and that keeps it even more thin on the interior. So yeah, it's
What's a good day, Chris?
today.
Yeah, today is a good day.
You're here talking to us.
Yeah, right?
Good.
Yeah, a good day for at work. You would
For
say?
you.
Yeah,
A good day for a firefighter paramedic, you.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I learned about the fire service before I got on was that it's a lot about who you work with and the people and the attitudes, the positive attitudes that people bring every single day. So unlike your normal 9-to-5 job or your basic career field, we live together. We live together at a minimum for a third of the year, so we get to know each other's strengths, and we definitely get to know each other's weaknesses. And I think that kind of brings you closer to each other. But if you were to ask me what's a good day at Lincoln Fire and Rescue, I think one of my favorite things is I have the opportunity to go help a lot of people and do it with a lot of people that I truly love and care about. You know what I mean? Like we get real close to each other. So
I believe it was Captain Frank Martinez, who says you never do anything alone.
No, never.
There's
True.
always somebody around you.
yep.
No,
They've got your back.
Right.
They're there to help out.
right.
And stature, does it make a difference?
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
I mean,
you
there's
know,
always someone there to help,
Sure.
whether you're small in stature, whether you're large,
Right. Yep.
male, female, minority. As a matter of fact, let's put out a shout to females and minorities that
Yeah.
if you are indeed interested at
Oh,
all,
please. Yeah.
please check out Lincoln Fire and Rescue.
Well, and we need to represent the community that we serve, and so we're not 98% white men in Lincoln, and a lot of the fire service is. So, you know, when we walk into homes, a minority home or a female having a baby, you know, or you know, for their comfort level to see a woman walk into the room, you'll just see it on their face versus a group of men walking in. There's always a comfort level, there's a need, and there's a place for everyone.
And the value to be
And-
bilingual in
Yes.
some
right.
Oh,
other
yes.
language
Yeah.
in our community. That would be
Right.
valuable.
One of the things like she just mentioned, I mean, we worked, she actually precepted me or mentored me into being a paramedic here in Lincoln. But there were several instances where it was obvious that she was able to connect with the patient in a better way than I would have, just because of being a female and understanding where they're coming from, and them feeling more open about whatever their situation may be. So I think that there's definitely benefits, and diversity isn't necessarily just your nationality or sex or anything like that. You know, diversity could be being bilingual and you are Caucasian male, or
Right.
the socioeconomic background that you came from, or you know, being from the West Coast or the East Coast. I mean, diversity really is a much broader topic than what we generally talk about, but some of those ones are a little bit more visible than others.
You bring that Seattle perspective, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
She's actually from
And I'm
California.
from California, yeah.
Explain preceptor. You use the term preceptor.
Yeah.
Explain what that is.
Preceptor is a 28 shift mentorship, basically, where a paramedic is assigned to, or a preceptee is assigned to 2 preceptors. Right now, Deb and I are at Station 6, and every other day we rotate on the medic unit from the engine, and we mentor that individual on every incident that they go on.
Well, let's put it out there again. Check out lincoln.ne.gov if you have been toying with the idea of seeking out some additional information. Go to the website, check it out. You will, I'm here to tell you, you will not work with a finer group of people than Lincoln Fire and Rescue.
I would agree.
I'm really
I would
smitten with
agree.
Lincoln Fire and Rescue, honest to
I am too.
A lot of good
Yeah.
people.
Seriously.
A lot of good people.
We're so fortunate.
And so check it out, lincoln.ne.gov. We've gone through 2 classes already in January, and my guess is that if the chief has anything to do with it, there probably will be more
Yes.
in 2018. Don't have those dates set yet, but they would be on the website, Chris.
Yep,
I'm guessing
yep,
once those
yep.
orientation
Yeah, everything will
classes
be on the
are
website.
scheduled. All right. Chris Gutierrez, Justin Coomer, Deb Staberg. Tell Dean hi, okay?
will.
Will
I
you do
will.
that for me?
I will.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today on Lincoln Fire and Rescue.